Oliver and Jumpy by Werner Stacekow. Volume 15. Spaceball, Cat King, Saving Fairyland. Is this your first encounter with Oliver and Jumpy? Yes? Then let me tell you about them. Oliver is an elegant tomcat, and Jumpy is his best friend. They are always on the lookout for new adventures together. Oliver lives in a treehouse on the mighty oak tree. He is the most famous cat in the country. Spaceball by Werner Stacekow. Illustrator Mario Terrazzo. It was a balmy night. Jumpy and I were sitting on the veranda of my treehouse, enjoying a cool drink. I was looking up at a particularly bright star and pointed it out to Jumpy. It looks like that star is moving. Indeed, it was gaining speed by the second, and appeared to be rapidly increasing in size. It was not a star at all. It had become a little fireball and was racing toward us. That ball of fire fell into the lake. There was a big splash, and the ground shook from the impact. The water started to boil, and steam rose from the surface. Next morning, everybody gathered at the lake's edge. There was a noise coming from the center of the lake, and then a silvery shiny ball emerged. That must be a spacecraft. The UFO was moving toward us. A dark opening appeared in its side. A ramp extended to the ground. One very funny creature slid down and stood in front of us. It was all red and looked like a snail standing up. The creature moved slowly in a wavy manner. As we were standing there staring at this strange thing, it began to talk. "Smitch, smatch, smoochy dooch," the thing said. A silvery beam shot out from his head and locked onto my forehead. "I'm sorry to have invaded your brain, but I had to learn your language. My name is Blupsy." "What is the purpose of your visit?" I asked. "On my planet, everybody is very serious. We need to have a holiday in a funny place." "It is Halloween and everybody will be sillier than usual," I answered. We all chose our costumes for trick-or-treating. Then we knocked on doors for treats. We arrived at an old house. "Looks like there's nobody home. Let's go on." "We should at least try to knock," said Joey. We banged the rusty iron knocker. Candlelight appeared in all the windows, and loud organ music started to play. "I am coming." The door opened slowly. We could see a tall person. It was the real Dracula himself. We were scared and couldn't speak. "I guess you are trick-or-treating. Have you lost your voices?" he said, and dropped something heavy into each of our bags. "I like your disguise," he said, looking at Blupsy. We barely thanked him and ran off. At home, we emptied our bags. Dracula's present was the ugliest gargoyle you could imagine. In chocolate. Bloopsy was delighted. He said some of the pets on his planet looked similar. Dracula was not so bad after all. Bloopsy said that he felt much better with all the silliness. Bloopsy, bye. See how Oliver became Cat King. Cat King by Werner Stacekow. Illustrator Macy Ann Reyes. Once again we explored Ghost Castle. There's a different adventure behind every door. This time we entered a very hot and humid jungle. Eventually we came to a clearing with an overgrown ancient temple. We walked up the crumbling stairs into an impressive pillared hall. At the end of the hall was a huge statue of me. We were mesmerized by this image, but I realized that there were many more statues on both sides, all cats. The cats carved of stone started to stretch and twist to become alive. Then they all jumped down and paid me respect. Great King, we are happy you bless us with your presence. I didn't know I was here before and as a king, but never mind. Why not go along with it? Of course, I could not foresee what trouble I was getting myself into. Then we had refreshments. Very beautiful servant girls brought delicious food. Jumpy and Joey enjoyed the poo. You know what I think about water though, don't you? We felt like in paradise when an impressively dressed tomcat arrived. Mighty Cat King, your bride is awaiting you. Now I even had a bride. I hoped she would be pretty. She was pacing toward me with delicate small steps. After the marriage ceremony, I kissed my sweet kitty cat. A feast followed. I had mentioned to them that I was allergic to birds and mice, so that they could arrange the menu accordingly. Then I was having the first dance with my new bride. Everybody had a good time, until I ate a bite of pie. I realized that more and more cats were staring at me. I looked at my fur. It was becoming white. There was mouse or bird in that pie, and I had an allergic reaction. I was considered an imposter because I had stopped looking like the statue. Our beautiful dream was at an end. The angry cats were stripping me of my crown. A proper king eats mice. I had been naughty to play king, but it was nice while it lasted. We quickly crossed the jungle and went back home. What an adventure! Kitty, bye! Our team is fighting the giant. Saving Fairyland by Werner Stacekow. Illustrator Macy Ann Reyes. I was relaxing on my veranda when there was a sudden disturbance behind my back. The Fairy Queen herself had arrived. "Hello, Oliver," she greeted me. "Hi, What brings you to Zealandia?" She appeared sad. "Magician Furchtbar wants to steal our land. His bad giant devastates all our fields. Soon we will be starving. We have to fight back. Of course, we will help." Everybody came to help. We traveled to Fairyland. The last time we had visited here, the valley was lush and green. How shocking everything looked now! The giant had trampled over the land. We had to stop him. The giant is coming every few weeks to see if we have replanted anything. What can we do? We had to use a clever ploy to immobilize our big enemy. I suggested we trap him. We dug a very deep hole as a man-trap. Then we covered it with tree branches. Finally, we put some potato plants on top for a ruse. Now we just had to wait. We would still have to contend with the magician. Jumpy and I were not totally helpless, because we have had magic lessons at our local wizardry. The giant was approaching. What have these fairies been up to? He quickly walked over the field, smashing the young plants. We were all holding our breath. He was near the trap now. He made another long step, and "Ah!" he cried, walking into the void. Hesitantly, we looked over the edge. "Get me out of here!" he cried. Jumpy and I took our magic wands and put a spell on him. The giant shrank and changed into a horse. He whinnied frustrated, but was powerless to do anything. Furchtbar lost his temper when he heard about his giant's demise. He decided to destroy the fairies for good, and magically created an army of demons. It was vital for us to know his intentions. Mousy volunteered to investigate. He easily entered the stronghold and went to spy on the demons. 2 days later, we could hear the demons coming. They looked horrifying. There were so many of them that only magic could save us. We used our wands to build a magic disappearance wall. The demons would not realize what was going to happen. Then the leading party had reached our invisible barrier and crossed into Neverland. Within minutes, all of them had disappeared. Furchtbar came to join the battle, flying a dragon. He blew his fiery breath over the roofs of the castle. Everywhere glass was shattered. I used my wand to conjure up a snowstorm to extinguish the fire. The magician realized where and who we were. He shot explosions in our direction. Okay, each of us will hold one corner of a magic net, and we drop it when the dragon is underneath. We sprinkled pixie dust on us and flew up high. The dragon returned and was just below us. We dropped the net and it wrapped around his wings. He crashed to the ground. We checked under the net and found the magician unconscious. He had lost his wand and could not fight back. We tied him up safely. Eventually, he opened his eyes. The Queen decided that 2 plough horses were needed to work the fields. We turned the magician into another horse. We had done a good job and removed a terrible menace from fairyland. In Zealandia we were honored for our good deeds. Dragon bye! Thank you very much for reading Oliver and Jumpy. You are now a special friend, and you'll be able to take part in all their adventures.